everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I'm going to go through 5 stocks that I'm buying right now and going through some of the technical explanations as to why I'm doing that. I've been buying this one here very, very slowly for a while now. And I really started buying as soon as I saw the volume here coming in just a few months ago, or really since the beginning of the year. This is a stock called RXRX, is a biotech company. And what you're seeing here is that it's been going through more or less a Wyckoff accumulation pattern here ever since 2022. It's been forming this really brutal pattern over here for quite some time. It does seem that the fortune of this stock most likely will be changing soon because you have increasing volume here in 2025. I think the stock's finally trading hands, finally from the real weak ones to the real strong ones. And I think this high volume thing over here is what we call a spring here in Wyckoff accumulation. With Wyckoff, basically is just saying that there is a composite man out there. Why is it a man instead of a woman or a unisex? Nobody would really know. I guess this is just the old terminology for this. Is the composite man who is controlling the market, trying to get you to trade stocks at the lows and sell it to them while using these repeated patterns that Wyckoff was able to identify. This is a classic looking pattern over here for accumulation where it just keeps on making low highs and low lows, eventually to a high volume spring over here, where you're basically following a very similar trajectory like it did over here, right? The low over here, actually a little bit of a double bottom here, push up here, very similar to that peak over there, come back down and do a test. I think that's where we are. And it looks like the test is passing as we bounce off of it over here, and we probably end up making maybe another high over here, back tested area, and then we go. How far does it end up going into? Looks like probably end up going into 2026. So I have time to accumulate this stock over here. There's no reason to hurry here. I'm not throwing all my fresh money into it. I'm just buying a little at a time. I've been doing that for quite some time to build my position because this stock gives me time to do it. Small position, I generally don't like to buy into just a simple Wyckoff because sometimes Wyckoff can be misleading, right? It's still a lower high, lower low type situation. So I don't want to deploy too much of my money into that, but it does look like a potentially decent risk reward ratio here. Now, another stock that I've been buying here, which is a little bit counterintuitive to a lot of y'all, but I'll explain my rationale as to why I'm doing that. This is QUBT. It's a quantum computing company. And as to why I feel okay with going into that, even though price has gone significantly higher for 2024, towards the end over here, it feels like I'm almost chasing this. But I'm seeing a couple of things that gives me pretty decent risk reward ratio here. First of all, it is broken above the 0.618. It hasn't really done that for quite some time. This fit level over here was staying all the way back here from the beginning, and it's been trying to break the 0.618 here for a very long time. And right now, I think we're showing signs that we are doing that with increasing volume over here. Right? So that's promising. Looks like we're breaking above that. Looks like we're back testing it. I think if you're looking at the monthly, you can see a lot more clearer picture here, where it looks like this breakout above the 0.618 could be real, and before it did, it looks like it has formed a very beautiful cup and handle pattern over here, which is a beautiful bullish continuation pattern, and it looks like it is playing out. Now, another thing that makes me more excited about it is because of the Ichimoku cloud. You can see really since 2021, it was rejected here at the Ichimoku cloud back in into 2020, right at the 0.618 here. Now we not only have broken through the 0.618, we've also broken through the Ichimoku cloud, and with a cup over here to confirm this breakout and a handle here to really put in some solid work to find some solid grounding to allow higher prices to come. So when I saw this pattern, I really started accumulating QUBT right around here. And it's hopefully it gives me enough time to do that. We'll see, but I just still find this to be a pretty decent setup. Now, if you ask me why I get into QUBT and not QBTS, RGTI, IONQ, my simple answer would be that it looks like a bullish formation, but it hasn't taken off yet. It hasn't taken off like the other ones yet, so I feel like I have more time to buy. Maybe there's a hard time for this to break off for some reason, I don't know. Maybe I'm a fool for getting into this instead of the other ones, but I just like more of a better setup here rather than trying to jump into something that has kind of already taken off. And my final reason for that is that this is the smallest market cap and gives you the most volatility compared to the other ones. So the risk is going to be higher on either to the upside and the downside. And because I feel like we're going risk on, I feel a lot more better in terms of getting into that. The third one that I've been buying is a stock called RCAT, Red Cat Holdings. The reason why I'm getting into that is because, again, technically speaking, this looks favorable. It looks like we are breaking out of this Adam and Eve double bottom over here with a back test right around the 0.786. It looks like we're holding. This whole thing might as well be a big cup over here, and this whole thing might be a handle over here. We found some pretty solid support here. Now, if you look at log fib, it might give you a little bit more of a misleading picture, but if you look at a linear fib, it already touched the 0.382, which is a perfect handle for a cup and handle formation. Right now, we had a false breakout above this level over here, but right now we are trying to break above that level here again. So this is a pretty bullish setup here. I'm also going to put up the Ichimoku. I cannot be unattracted, or I shouldn't say. I'm attracted to stocks that break the Ichimoku and back testing it, and it looks like it wants to go higher. That's what really has gotten me to get into this one. Again, I'm buying a small position because this stock can go up and down 10-20% in a day for no reason at all because it's a small cap stock. I am getting into this, but I'm getting into it very slowly. The fourth one is Rivian. Why am I interested in Rivian? Because it looks like it's formed a very beautiful base over here. We broke above the tank in the blue line here. It looks like we're back testing it right now. If you look at the Bollinger Band, the Bollinger Band is telling a story here where initially this 20-month moving average was resistance here, and because we formed for the most part higher highs and higher lows over here for the last 12 months or so, we have reclaimed the 20-month moving average from resistance here into support very clearly while the Bollinger Band is squeezing. That usually tells you that a trend change is going to happen, and both of those things, right, resistance support and the Bollinger Band squeeze on a higher time frame, that tells me a bigger move is going to come. Now, how big and how fast and how long, nobody really knows. All I know is that, and I'm not comparing the two companies because they're two different companies. All I'm saying is that I remember seeing that kind of Bollinger Band squeeze and the 20-month moving average claim from resistance to support back with Robinhood. And I'm seeing a very, very similar look with Rivian here, except that Rivian base has been forming for a lot longer. I don't know whether or not Rivian is going to pull that high. I do think that it's reasonable to think that Rivian will end up hitting some higher fit levels. I do think that it's going to break about the 0.236 here, and I do think that it's probably minimally going to go to 0.382 over here and see how it struggled there, right? That would be price doubling from where it is at right now, and I feel comfortable with getting into that risk-reward ratio, and that's why I'm getting into Rivian very slowly. Again, not going to buy everything all at once. It's an accumulation candidate, and that's why I'm doing that. Now, the final one here is BTCS. Why am I getting into BTCS? What is BTCS? It is an Ethereum treasury company. It's a relatively small cap company compared to your counterpart that everybody's really talking about getting into, which is BMNR. Now, BTCS compared to BMNR has advantages here. First of all, I'm going to kind of put them side by side here to give you a little bit of an idea in terms of what you're looking at here. And if I pull up BMNR, you can see a couple things. One is they're showing the same Bollinger Band expansion, right? Very similar morphology here actually over the last 4 months. Wake up and then came back down to a Bollinger Band and is slowly going up here. Now, if you're looking at the lower Bollinger Band here for BMNR is expanding, that tells me that thing most likely the trend is going to keep on pushing up higher. Same thing here for PTCS. There's really no difference between the two. So why am I getting into BTCS instead of getting into BMNR? There is really just one technical reason. I think BMNR is bullish. There's really one technical reason for that. And the reason for me to really do that was really the Ichimoku, which if I pull out the Ichimoku, you can see that there is a difference between the two, where both of them has broken into the Ichimoku cloud here on the monthly, but there's one big difference here is that the BTCS stock is breaking above the Tenkan and Kijun. It is really reclaiming a previous resistance level that has been trying to break for about 3 months now into support, whereas BMNR is still eyeing that Tenkan and Kijun, the red and blue line up above around $82, $83, and that is still going to be unfortunately resistance level there until proven otherwise. So I think BTCS have a little bit of a leg up, if you will, compared to BMNR, but even BMNR has broken inside the Ichimoku cloud here, so that's not a bearish stock. On top of all that, BTCS has got a smaller market cap. If we're risk on, its market capitalization is only $250 million, whereas BMNR has a lot more money pulling into it in its larger cap, so it's relatively safer. But the upside might also be a little bit more limited. Its market cap is around $16 billion right now. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to this video. Have a good one. Bye.